Yeah. Good morning to you and welcome to our Kickstarter as we go into Thursday. This is a conversation that is actually paramount for you to have tidbits of information and knowledge and understanding about, because it's the reality that we face every single day. It was the other day that we were talking to the General Herbal boss, Dr. Gwang, and the question unto him was, when is his drug going to be officially on the market as far as standardization is concerned? And one of his queries was the bureaucracy within the public system in order to aid and support his innovation come to life for Ugandans so that they can fully utilize it and consume it. So in our Kickstarter this morning, our focal point is going to be on Uganda's efforts to combat counterfeits. In all sectors, there are counterfeits. It could be agriculture, it could be the equipment in the health sector. And so the developments in the Anti-Counterfeit Bill is something that we're going to be focusing on. My name is Priscilla Regina Daloga, and you are most welcome to our Kickstarter. The backbone of it is you do have the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, and according to them, 58% of the products on the market are either fake or counterfeits, and lots of these sadly are locally made. Tens of thousands of brands have been imported not only through theft of sales or dilution of hard-fought reputations, but also through consumer confusion. And so it looks different when you look at it online. When it is delivered to your doorstep, it's a completely different product. So counterfeits cut across all sectors and pose a serious health and safety risk, which trend inhibits Uganda's economic growth. And since the potential investors differ from doing business in a nation where they believe their products will be widely forged, they'll pack up their bags and go somewhere else. For us women who are into beauty products, you try it the first time and it's good. The second time you try it, or the third time you try it, it's completely a different product. So in a significant move aimed at safeguarding the intellectual property rights, fostering fair competition, as well as ensuring consumer safety, the Ugandan government has passed the Anti-Counterfeit Goods Bill. Now, this comprehensive legislation does represent a pivotal step towards addressing the pervasive issue of counterfeit and substandard products that have plagued the Ugandan market. And this was not just yesterday, but it's been recurring year after year after year. What is the impact of the fight against counterfeit is a discussion that I'm going to be having with my guests this morning. I am joined by Member of Parliament Soroti West, and that is Honorable Jonathan Ebwalu, who's going to be giving us from the horse's mouth on the floor how the different legislators are viewing this particular conversation and what power wields them to push for this particular conversation. We are also joined by Counsel Fred Muwema, who is also going to be giving us his perspective, the legalities around counterfeits and how exactly we ought to be combating them as far as regulations, laws and policies are concerned. What we have there is, say, Uganda has the best laws in the land in East Africa, but implementation has always been the hiccup. Good morning to you, gentlemen. Allow me to say salutations to you, but also you may share your salutations to our audience, starting with the Honorable.
Thank you very much, my sister Priscilla, and Counsel, my senior brother, and all the viewers out there. I want to thank you very much for dedicating this morning to discuss the counterfeit. I want to thank you very much.
Okay. Counsel?
Thank you, Priscilla. Happy to be here again. Viewers, we've just come out of the Labor Day celebrations. The theme was ensuring safety, our safety and health at the workplace. The #1 threat to our health and safety is counterfeits and substandard. So we're here to unpack the subject and share to make you safer and healthier.
Speaking of unpacking, let's get straight into it with the legislator in the House this morning to give us an overview or background of the Anti-Counterfeit Goods Bill 2023. What are the key elements in their adjustments and readjustments?
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank my brother, the chairman of the Anti-Counterfeit Network, the ACN, Counsel Fred Muwema, who is collaborating with us as Parliament to ensure that we reach out to the consumers so that by the time we get back on the floor of Parliament, we have listened to our people on the ground. I want to thank you very much, Counsel Fred Muwema and team. I also want to thank you, the NTV, the official partner. You have enabled us to move. You have given us the airtime. You have given us the coverage. And we are reaching out to our people. Very sincerely, I want to thank you, NTV. Number one, the mover of this bill is my brother, Senior Asuman Basalirwa, and I am the seconder. This is the third time that this bill is coming back on the floor of Parliament. It came in the 8th Parliament in 2010, and because of the definition, who was going to do what, there was a bit of confusion, it was shelved. Another time it came on the floor of Parliament was in 2015, but because of similar situations, the definition, who was going to handle what, it was again shelved. I am very happy that now it is coming for the third time, and working together with ACN, we have now put a comprehensive definition. We have now agreed that we are going to have a number of agencies implementing. We are going to have the police. We are going to have the Unbs. We are going to have the consumers. We are going to have the organizations of the traders. So now we are going to have a comprehensive situation where we're going to bring in a number of implementers into this law. We introduced this bill in 2023 called the Anti-Counterfeit of Goods and Services 2023. It got overwhelming support on the floor of Parliament, and I want to thank Parliament. I want to thank the Speaker that gave us leave that we go and consult. We started with our consultations in Mukono, went to Bujiri, went to Mbale, went to Soroti, and I can tell you that we have got overwhelming support on the ground. Here now I'm reporting. Counterfeit affects not only me, not only you, it affects everyone. Every day that you go to the market, every day you walk to the supermarket, every day you walk to a pharmacy, we are consuming counterfeit. And I will allow Council at a certain point to give us a comprehensive definition of counterfeit and then the provisions. I'm going to talk generally about the bill. One, counterfeit in simple terms is to imitate something that's original, like my telephone here. Someone also goes and does the same. Mm-hmm. Now you know that that is dishonesty and illegal. You are now going to deprive of the original owner. There is going to be lack of confidence from the public towards your good or towards your item because of the counterfeit. Number one. Number two, the main objective is to, one, enlighten the public. Number two, educate the public. Number three, we want to empower the consumers or the public on matters related to the counterfeit and then to combat the counterfeit. Now, why we are bringing this law, that eventually I am very certain, given the support we have got from Parliament, we know that the President will assent to this law. We want to ensure that, one, we prohibit the manufacture. Number two, we prohibit the distribution. We prohibit the sale, the labeling of any form of counterfeit here in the country. We have seen a very big problem where our people, this is on concrete evidence, this is research carried out, that many of us consume the counterfeit, and at the end of the day, it has a very adverse health effects, very adverse health effects. We have seen a number of our people consuming the fake drugs. You go to a pharmacy and then you are told that, okay, we have this Panadol. There's Panadol of 3,000, there is Panadol of 10,000, there's Panadol of 15,000, there's Panadol of 1,000. So now it's according to your pocket. You are the one to choose which one you're going to buy. Obviously, when you go for the cheapest one, there are high chances that you're going to take a fake one. And then unfortunately, we are selling and nobody seems to be bothered. We are selling to our people. Mm-hmm.
But even with the price demarcations, the consumer doesn't know what logos to look out for to ensure that this is an original product that they're buying.
I agree with you. That is why we need this law. It should have actually been passed by yesterday. That's why we need to have this law, so that we roll out to our people to tell them how the original one looks like, how the fake one looks like. We roll out to our people to sensitize our people so that we are able to completely combat the anti-counterfeit. That's why we are rolling out. My sister, we have seen situations where, you see now in Uganda today, the other day I was in Mulago to pick one of my brothers who got involved in an accident. He died. I was in Mulago, picked him and then took him for burial in Soroti. While I was in Mulago, in 40 minutes, 7 dead bodies had been rolled in the mortuary. All of them because of the accidents. Now for us, we don't ask that what is causing many accidents on our roads. 1, the fake spare parts. 2, the fake oils that we're using in our motorcycles or in our cars. 3, the fake tires that we are using. The fake helmets that we are using. Now for us, we are going to rush. Police will rush quickly and say, oh no, you pilot, you are in the wrong. You driver, you don't have a permit. But we do not interrogate that how is the motorcycle? What caused this accident? Now all this is because of the fake products that we have in the market. We have seen not long ago here, downtown here, we have seen not only in downtown Soroti, everywhere, people are building daily. A house reaches up in the ring beam, and then tomorrow, all of a sudden, the house collapses down.
It's intended to be a flat, it becomes a bungalow.
I agree with you. Okay. The house collapses down.
Right.
But we don't ask ourselves, what is the problem? We go and say, this engineer must not be trained well. Well, we also have fake engineers. I agree with that situation. We also have fake engineers. But we do not go and look at the materials that are being used to raise that building, starting from the wires, you come to the cement, you come, all the materials that are used. We have fake products all over the market, and we want to appeal to the people who are out there, we want to appeal to Parliament and then the President, that we need support so that we reach out to the last person in Uganda to ensure that we gather the views, we have a consensus in the country how we can move. Okay. And let me tell you why we need support. Once this bill... Before
we go into why you need the support, let's go back and first understand from a legal perspective what constitutes counterfeit, Counsel, and in then so being, what are some of the elements of counterfeit, generally speaking? And also for us here in Uganda as a country, which sectors have been most affected by counterfeit?
Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you, Honorable. Just to add, this is a private member's bill, the Anti-Counterfeit Goods Bill, meaning that it is not resourced, it has no money from government to support it. The money is coming from contributions by brands, by ourselves. And to add on to what Honorable said, we would like to thank Pepsi, which has come out to support with the beverages, the drinks, the whatever, during the consultations. And that's a big thank you there. Why is this important that there is participation of the brands as well? This is because the brands as businesses are most affected by counterfeit and substandard products. Right now, industries in Uganda are working at less than 50% of installed capacity. Why? Because of the unfair competition from the fakes. I know some industries that have closed because of the influx of, let's say, plastics or tires or whatever. So the appeal here is, can we have more and more brands participating to follow the key of NTV and Pepsi to support this? Because it is our problem. It is not a single person's problem. It's not just the government problem. It's our problem. That's point number one. This law on counterfeits is a landmark law. It's a groundbreaking law. It is the first law in the world, first of all, which is a private initiated bill. All other laws on fighting counterfeits or substandard are introduced by government. So a big salutation to Honorable Basalirwa and Honorable Ebwalu, who went beyond their constituencies of Bujiri and Soroti to say, let's do this for all Ugandans. That should not be taken for granted. So a very big one there for them. And because it's a national cause, there have been challenges, like he's been saying. In the past, why hasn't this law been brought by government? Because there have been challenges of creating more agencies. Right now, we're trying to rationalize. So it was a problem, and which agency will handle this issue of counterfeits? We already have an agency of standards. They tried to push it to Unbs, and it was like, you know, our mandate is already, we are overstretched. You can't add something else. So this law has now come up to say, let us have a legal definition of counterfeits. It's very difficult, Priscilla, to fight something that you've not defined. So that's why, even if we've had some laws and legislations in copyright, those people in the music industry, they have a own copyright. But we are just dabbing and downloading and stealing their music, as it were. I think the music industry loses about 1 billion shillings a day on theft, piracy. We have the Trademark Act, which was also talking about infringement. If I have my innovation, I register the mark, and you copy it, they call it trademark infringement. We've had punishments given there. But these laws, despite their existence, the vice has just been growing. Why has it been growing? Because we didn't have a definition. So we now have, like Honorable said, a definition that covers. The net is so wide. If you're selling, if you're marketing, if you're producing, if you're blending, if you're processing, if you're packaging, if you're repackaging, any aspect that promotes the bringing of this counterfeit into the trade channel, into the market, has been captured, including but not limited to importation, for example. There are people who import raw materials that are used in production of substandard, of counterfeit products. It also catches them, including but not limited to anybody who aids or facilitates the selling of fakes. I think very soon, when this law is passed, NTV will not just advertise any product that is brought to it. When the product is brought to it, NTV must check, are you sure this product is not counterfeit? Are we not unintentionally promoting the sale of a counterfeit? Everybody should be doing a KYC. If I'm a landlord and I have shops, I also need to be asking myself. Of course, I may not know everything, but let me do some due diligence. You have rented my premises. For what purpose? I'm going to be selling tires. Okay. Are you an appointed distributor? Are you a wholesaler? The basic information, not this business of saying I'm here in Kampala and I have buildings in Soroti and people just enter and send money to my account. No, no, no. This law is quite wide. It goes as far as also saying that you cannot hide behind a company, because legally a company is different from its owners. It's a separate legal entity. But the law is saying that if a company gets involved in manufacturing, selling, importing counterfeits, even you, the director, you, the shareholder, will be answerable. You'll have to come and explain what business this is done. And lastly, on the law, why it is important. The law now introduces 15 offenses related to counterfeiting. By the way, that's the definition. I've described it, but the definition also deals with substandard. If you're producing any product that goes against the standards set in the country. If it's a mattress, you might have a registered mark. You're called X mattress, it's your mark. But if you produce below standard, we have also incorporated it under counterfeiting to make it actually a hybrid law, the first of its kind, which has 2 legs to stand on. The last bit I need to emphasize here is on the punishment. Currently, somebody who is counterfeiting, if they are found guilty, they will be charged 48 currency points, which is roughly about 960,000. That's under the trademark. Similar under the other laws. And the prison sentence on conviction, 2 years to 5 years. Under the Anti-Counterfeit Goods Bill, the punishments have been increased. The fine is 5 times the value of the goods they have found you with. So if they find you with a lorry of fake cement worth 100 million, to deter a repeat of that, you pay 5 times, 500 million. We think this is deterrent enough to make people now get into legit business. And then also the punishment, custodial, imprisonment, is 10 years. But in the consultations we've been going with Honorable, I think also Soroti said, why do you give 10 years only to these counterfeiters who are killing us?
All the areas.
Let them be in jail forever.
Forever.
Of course, Parliament will have to decide. So Uganda now stands with the rest of the civilized nations to fight fakes and substandard. Gone are the days for people to think that, you know, we are trying to survive and then you're doing fake. Fakes are very expensive. If we sat here and talked about the economic and health effects, we shall need a whole day. Whichever way you look at it, you are not saving anything.
Okay, let's talk about the sectors that are most affected by counterfeit right now.
Oh, the sectors. How many sectors do you know, Priscilla, that you know that are important? How many do you know?
Health,
10?
education.
Okay,
Yes.
everything. Everything. There is no sector, including our religion. We also have fake Bibles. You know that. Every sector. In short, from your head to your toes, everything is affected. Even when you go for your pedicure and manicure and so on, they're using a lot of fake stuff in there. So, but I think to put it in context, the more dangerous sectors that you cannot tamper with, but which are being tampered with, for example, agriculture. Because food is a renewable resource that is essential for our human existence. But the counterfeits and substandard have gone into the food channel. You see, in Uganda here, as part of a global problem of food poisoning, we have about 600 million people who are affected by food poisoning every year. 1 out of every 10. And 500,000 of those die. In Uganda, we don't have very good stats, but the last I saw is that about 1 million Ugandans are affected by food poisoning. And many of those, we have a lot of foodborne diseases. We are dying, we're falling sick. Now, it is a threat to our food sovereignty, it's a threat to our food security, that we already have a global problem of hunger. We have 700 million people hungry in the world, but to get a hungry person and give them poison. To eat is very dangerous. So the issue of counterfeits in agriculture is everywhere. Let's look at the inputs alone. We have a lot of pesticides, fungicides, bactericides, fertilizers, fake, acaricides. You saw the president the other day complaining about the ticks and so on. The waste is being affected. Even the quarantine, some of it that you're seeing.
Even his own cows.
When you'll hear that it's foot and mouth disease, but why do you think the foot and mouth disease is not going away? Because of the fake
counterfeit product.
the fake medicines or whatever that they're using. So agriculture, big time. Cosmetics, I need to talk about this because some people may think that it's only food and medicine.
Well, let's come back to the cosmetics, because that's a big one, and it's a growing industry that is being asked of supporting agencies to actually open doors to complement it.
That's where you are.
And that's where I am. But we're going to be taking a short break. When we return, we'll pick it up from there, and also consultations. What are some of the views that came out from the public generally? Do stay with us. The problem of counterfeit is upon us day in, day out, pretty much to the air that you get to breathe in for today as you're embarking on your journey and whatever it is that you are putting your hands to. So we are focusing on the developments in the Anti-Counterfeit Goods Bill 2023. We have so far known, of course, it's a private members bill, and you do have partners that have come collectively to echo the gong on why it is important for the nation to actually push the mandate of ensuring that there is safety for each and every one of us as we get to utilize the goods and services industries. Most affected industry and sector that has been brought to table is agriculture, one of them. Of course, food security is a conversation that we've had a lot here in Morning at NTV. The other that we left at the brink of the break was cosmetics industry, which is growing, and so we'll get into that. But of course we have questions to answer. The enlightenment, the education, the empowerment, and the combating. At the end of the day, I do believe that Honorable Jonathan Ebwalu, as well as Counsel Fred Muwema, are definitely doing a good job in expanding our understanding of this, so that collective effort can be brought to the table to fight counterfeit in the Republic of Uganda. So turning to you, Honorable Ebwalu, the consultations that you made with Honorable Basaliwa, what were the views of the consultants, and which particular consultants were you approaching, and what were the views on counterfeit goods?
We, in all our consultations, I told you we launched from Mukono, we went to Bujiri, we went to Mbale, we went to Soroti, and God willing, in the next coming days, we will be hitting the northern areas of Gulu, Arua, and then we turned to the western part, and then come back here to Central, to Kampala, with the last one, consultation. Now, we targeted the traders. The traders, we invited them and they participated, they shared with us experiences. The Juakali guys, mainly Juakali guys, they came and shared with us how they are buying the fake products. And someone actually told us in Soroti, a mechanic, of how he goes to a market, he buys a fake ball joint, but that's what is available in the market. He puts it in the car. After a day, the owner of the car comes back. He says, but that's what I got. That's what I was able to put in your car. So people shared with us a lot of experiences while we were in the Soroti, in Mbale, in Bujiri, in Mukono. So we targeted the traders, and they came in their numbers. Actually, the number was overwhelming. We had to use our mechanisms of controlling the numbers. They came in their numbers. Like while we were in Mukono, when we were in Bujiri, the hall that we estimated to have taken 300 people. People came close to 500. We had to lock the gate to lock out other people, which was not correct, but the number was overwhelming. So that can show you the interest people have picked in this anti-counterfeit consultation, number one. Number two, we invited the police, who are the enforcers of the law, and they participated in all those areas. Number three, we invited the technical people, the town clerk and their teams, and they participated. The borders, the guys who we say they're causing accidents in Uganda daily, but we don't look at why are these accidents coming. We invited the farmers that participated, and actually it was a general consultation. We invited the whole public, and people have supported the bill. They actually told us that we should have done this thing much earlier. This bill should have been passed by yesterday or by the other day. People shared with us experiences. People shared with us what we can do. What was very outstanding, what came out very clearly was people were saying that, okay, if you are going to charge a person, like the old law was proposing of 960,000, someone will come and give you 1 million shillings and will not even ask for change to buy his way out, because the charge is 960,000 if you are found to be participating or to indulge in counterfeit. So someone will come and tell you, okay, this 1 million shillings, I even don't need change, and goes away. So people are saying that we need to put stringent measures. And I want to thank our partners, the SCN, that worked together with our legal team in Parliament and came with a number of provisions. One, and which people on the ground are saying is not lenient enough, is the 10 years that Council talked about. People are saying that if someone is involved in the manufacture, knowingly, you are involved in the sale, you are involved in labeling, you are involved in marketing, or you are involved in any form of counterfeit, someone should go and rot in prison. And it was a common voice right from Mukono up to Soroti, all the areas that we passed. People are saying that these people should go and rot in jail. Now, we are going to take it as it is. We shall sit down, make our report, fine-tune our bill that we shall take to Parliament. And we'll tell our colleagues in Parliament that this is the view of our people. If there is consensus, we shall listen to them.
Okay.
So I want to tell you the bill generally has got overwhelming support because the consumer...
What are some of the other recommendations that came from the public?
That was number one. They're saying that the 10 years is not lenient enough. People should
Some
go...
people talked about landlords.
People should go and die in prison. Two, they said, now, I am a landlord. I deal in rentals. I've given you my house. How am I supposed to come and look at the products that you brought yesterday? So for them, they were saying that we should go and charge the tenant, charge the business person, and leave out the landlord from this. Because I've given you my lockup. I do not know which goods you're going to bring. In fact, there was someone called Amet who say that, am I going to go and then I start searching, looking at the things that are there? I'm not going to do that.
Asking them for their documentation, inventory. That's not
so they were saying that their relationship with the client stops at renting out the building. Whatever is going to bring to the building, that should be their business. Number three, there are those who even confessed. They say that I even don't know what I'm selling. Now you kindly allow us some time. I dispose of what I have in the shop before you come with the law. First allow us to dispose of what the stock that we have in the business before you come with the law. So we got very encouraging recommendations from our consultations, and we are going to move all over the country so that we form a consensus. But this law is the people's law. It is coming from down. It affects the common person. Obviously, we are going to get some resistance, especially from the beneficiaries of the counterfeit. We're going to get some resistance, and we are prepared for it. We're not going to be intimidated. There are those who are going to come and say, abandon this idea. We are not going to be intimidated until this comes into force. Okay.
All right. Turning back to you, Counsel Fred, we were talking about cosmetics. Cosmetics is one of those industries that is still primarily virgin for us here in Uganda, and it's taking a trajectory of organics. Everyone is getting engaged in organic manufacturing, distribution, processing or reprocessing to make an organic product. However, when it comes to the National Bureau of Standards, there's some loopholes there in order to support that. The investment authority will say, no, let everyone first get into the pool, then we will tighten the strings later on. Let's talk about that.
Of course, the situation we have now is because we have a liberalized economy, so meaning that free up the market and let the market forces decide. So you have a lot of players coming in. Everybody or anybody can get a permit to import glycerin, which is the base material that is used to do cosmetics. And there is a problem that they are not producing these products according to the standards. And that's why I like this bill, the Anti-Counterfeit Goods and Services Bill. It is saying that if you are also doing importation, let's say of glycerin, and it ends up that whatever you're importing is used by the fakers to give dangerous cosmetics, then the law will catch you. The problem with the cosmetics is that we don't have sufficient regulation. A lot of these cosmetics that are being used contain heavy metals. You've seen stories of mercury, zinc, There is even lead, which is cancer-causing. There are a lot of parabens. And when I'm talking cosmetics, I'm talking not just the Vaseline, I'm also talking the soaps. Soap is extremely dangerous. We have a lot of soap. I know some well-known brands that affect left, right, and center. You go to a supermarket to buy that soap, and the chances that you're buying fake are 6 out of 10, you know. And what people need to understand is that cosmetics or these soaps are extremely dangerous, maybe even more dangerous than the medicines. Why? Because all of us here, we may not have taken a medicine, but we all had a bath. And we've all used the shampoo. We've all used soap. This soap that you put on your body goes straight into your bloodstream, because your skin is the largest breathing organ. It goes straight into your bloodstream. So a lot of the diseases we have that you see, the blood cancers, the health reproductive issues that women have, the fibroids and so on, it's these chemicals, dangerous chemicals that we're putting on our skin. So I think that the law, especially because it's an interagency law, in the sense that a body like Unbs will now be able to come under the counterfeit law and get hold of the person that is making the fake cosmetic. A body like the Direct Development Authority will now be able to come. We have a lot of contamination in milk. Use this law and squeeze it. So I think that all Ugandans need to come out in large numbers. You can give your views through the consultations. We also have an online survey form, questionnaire on the SEN website, where you can go and give us your views. Do you think the law is okay? What should we improve? What should we reduce? So I think that it's a good opportunity that we have platforms like this. I appeal to all media houses to give us much media. I also appeal to the government, I appeal to UCC. Give us as much media to spread this gospel, because this is important for our well-being. This is not something that you will say, for me I am safe. I've had some people saying, for me I import my cosmetic, my shampoo from the UK and so on. Okay, you import your shampoo from the UK, and when it comes to the eggs, you also import from the UK. Do you get water from the UK? Do you get the spare parts, the brakes from the UK? Do you get scholastic material? Do you get shoes? You know, so you cannot escape this. We need to own up. We need to be responsible.
Okay. Now let's look at some of the punishments that within the 15 that you did mention. They seem to be dealing with someone who is already in the chain of trade and business. Let's talk about some of the solutions that can be brought on table to counter from the beginning or inception of where counterfeit should originate from. For example, if the glycerin is being brought into the country, how is the standard being checked at that point of entry? Rather than talking about substandard when it's already in country, how do we measure standard and keep up with standard right at the point of entry? When it comes to manufacturing, how do we check standard at the point of manufacturing so that then the chain of distribution and sale is cleared or safer?
I think I need to say this. This law is going to help change some of our policy interventions. You see, currently, if a trader brings in a genuine product, let's say genuine tires, URA will actually tax him to the maximum. If somebody brings in low quality tires, the tax will be lower. What are we saying? It's like we are encouraging importation of the lower version of the fakes. You see, so if you are talking about how do these things come in, it means that we have got to build even our national consciousness in the agencies that are dealing with these products. The customs has what they call prohibited goods. Prohibited goods include counterfeits. But we have a challenge of we need to collect public revenue. But are we collecting public revenue at the cost of public safety? Should we just collect the taxes and everything comes in and then later deal with the fakes and then tell the law to get it? The point you're making is the importation at the point of entry into the market. We should be able to check this. And that's why in the definition of counterfeiting, we've also captured importation. Now, there is also the other thing that we at the Anti-Counterfeit Network are doing. You see, Priscilla, it is difficult for you to go onto the market now and know what is a genuine detergent and what is not a genuine detergent. As a consumer, you don't know.
It's not you just
It's impossible.
Know. You just want a detergent to clean your clothes.
Yes, it's impossible for you. And so we are saying the issue of differentiation, sometimes even the brand owner cannot differentiate his genuine from the fake. The differentiation is so tricky because of advancements in intermediate technologies. You can do packaging materials, you can manufacture beer in your bedroom and sell it, or soap. So what we have done, we have developed an online reporting platform where you, Priscilla, if you get a product and you think it is suspicious or fake, you take a picture and post it. And we are hoping to recruit the brands on there to come and meet halfway with their consumers to be able to track and address the concerns. Because right now, brands are struggling to investigate and go on the ground to find out what is fake. And so that solution is called Bleep, bleep.ug, bleep.ug. If you go on that platform, which we are still in advanced stages of doing a commercial launch, if you go there, you'll at least be able to report. Now, why is reporting important? We did, some 2 years ago, we did a survey in the Elgon region with Feed the Future on agricultural inputs. And whereas all the farmers there found that they have interfaced with fake seedlings and fake inputs for agriculture, none of them reported a case. So when you ask them, they all said, but where do we report? There is no way I'm going to take a pack of fake onion seeds to a police station. The cost of opening a file, they'll ask me for this or this, including even magistrates were involved. They had planted fake passion fruits and the whole things had died. People have nowhere to report. The issue of reportage is extremely important. If you are going to use a fake Vaseline and it burns you, and you do what we usually do, let me go and buy another one. You just throw it away. You are promoting the subculture of counterfeiting.
Counsel, there's someone who's raising a question and asking, you've mentioned Vaseline. There's Vaseline UK, there's Vaseline Kenya. Is that counterfeit?
And
Does that constitute?
And Vaseline Uganda.
And Vaseline Uganda.
Actually, I have seen that for Vaseline.
Yeah?
I was in Brussels one time and I bought a Blue Seal. And it looked thick and it was yellowish. So when I came here, I bought another Blue Seal. And it was white and light. That's a standards issue. It's not counterfeit. It's manufactured by the person. So, and this is the problem. Africa is a dumping ground for low-grade products. This bill,
Which
this
low grade ideally then do constitute to be called
now
counterfeit?
We have defined counterfeit here to include both the manufacture of a product so as to copy a trademark, but we've also said any product that is not manufactured according to the standards. So if the Unbs standards for Vaseline is you must have this ingredient, that ingredient, and that ingredient, and that Vaseline doesn't have it, then that will be substandard stroke counterfeit. So we are saying we now have a chance to ensure that on the market in Uganda, we have products that meet the international standard. A lot of the UNBS standards you see are from the international standard.
That's a very big debate of the international standards and then localization of standards. We would need an investment authority to sit on this table for that conversation. But without stretching it, coming back to you, Honorable Jonathan, in regards to comprehensive fight against counterfeit, you talked about implementing agencies as well as organizations of different parties and players to this conversation. Who are those in particular that you know must be on board for this to actually be a success and protect the consumer and the trade at the end of the day?
First of all, the first one is the UNBS. That is in charge the standards of goods and services in the country. Some of the other thing that I did not tell you is that some of the people that we consulted say that a number of them, UNBS is demanding for a lot of money to clear their products, to label their products. And this one, we have not independently verified. We are going to have an engagement with the UNBS very soon. We shall sit with the UNBS and then we bring this to their attention, number one. Number two, some of the claims we got from the ground, they were asking us that you are coming to consult with us. First, go and deal with UNBS. Who clears these items to come to our country? How does UNBS clear these items to come to our country? Go and deal with the UNBS. So we are going to have a conversation with the UNBS, knowing that UNBS is a very big agency and it is in charge the standards in the country. That's number one agency. The second agency we are going to meet, that we have actually met on the consultation, is the Uganda police. That is going to be in charge the enforcement of this law. The other agency that we are going to have a conversation with is the Uganda Revenue Authority. Because like you heard Counsel saying here, one, you have someone bringing the genuine spare parts, the taxes are higher. The other one who is bringing the fake or the substandard, the taxes are low. So we are going to engage the Uganda Revenue Authority. You just mentioned the Investment Authority here. We are going to meet the Investment Authority. And then all the other, this one is an inter-agency law. It involves a number of people that are going to come to implement so that we safeguard our people.
Okay.
So it's not about one person, UNBS, it's not about the investment, it's not about URA, not about Parliament, it is interagency. We are going to interlink. There is a UDA, the Uganda Development, the Uganda Diary, the Uganda Diary.
Even NDA.
Yes. So there are a number of agencies that we have already consulted. There are those that we are yet to consult that are going to be directly in charge the implementation of this law.
Okay. Implementation, if it does take course and when it does take course, Counsel Muwema, what is going to be the positive impact on business, on trade, on industry, on consumer, on country?
Positive impact. First of all, for us as SCN, we're doing our part. We have partnered with Parliament. We're helping Parliament in the legislative process. That's positive because the Constitution says that the people must participate in the making of the laws. So as civil society, we're doing that. We helped in the withdrawal of the old bill. We sat with the Committee on Trade. Now we are helping in the passing of the new law. That is a positive from the legislative side. Parliament is working with the people. The positives on the consumer are massive because at least we're now going to have a specific legislation dealing with this headache of fake toothpaste, fake medicine. At least we have that. And we are now going to be in line with the other countries. We're the only country in the East African community that didn't have specific legislation. Yes, we're still short. We don't have a direct body dealing with this. We only have private sector, but at least we're going to have a law. Now, the consumer will benefit because their consumer right, which is the right to have a safe and effective product, will be realized, even if we don't have a consumer protection law. And then also, we're going to have the issue of unfair competition, whereby you want to buy an iPhone, somebody gives you a dupe, still asks you a lot of money, and then you think you have a status, I have an iPhone, but it's just fake. So as a consumer, you benefit. That's the first line of benefit. And then for the legitimate businesses, they're also going to benefit because they will now be able to protect their market share. As we speak now, the biggest challenge that most of the brands are facing is that their market share is being eaten away by something that it's these fakes. They're eating them away. In fact, we have many big brands that have withdrawn from the country because they cannot invest here where they cannot have protection of their innovations and so on. Okay. The other big beneficiary is government. You know, a counterfeiter is not a model employer. There is no counterfeiter who puts up an industry like Mukwano. They do things in some dingy place and so on. They don't pay taxes, they are not employing people. The youth unemployment that we are suffering here, the high youth dependency ratio in this country, 115%. That's why people cannot save, because all the money is being given to, you know, handouts.
Okay.
So government will also benefit because it will now be able to increase its tax collections from the legit businesses, payee and all those things.
All right. Counsel Fred Muwema, thank you so much for your input and the fight against counterfeit in the country. And Honorable Jonathan Ebwalu, thank you so much equally as a legislator, taking this to government and making sure that it's a collective partnership in order to have the Anti-Counterfeit Goods Bill in motion to protect the consumer as well as the trader, as well as the economy of the Republic of Uganda. Now, you can participate in the consultative meetings that are ongoing. You can go to the Anti-Counterfeit Network website. There's an online survey that you can participate in. Equally, there's an application, bleep.ug, bleep.ug. You can also use that to ensure that if you feel disgruntled about a certain product, you can post that product and then they can follow up with the resources that they have. Together, we can actually have better quality and better quantity. That brings us to the end of this conversation. We take a short breather, but NTV, Morning at NTV does continue with more conversations. Don't go away.